Not very long ago, a world champion lived here, and Miami Dolphin fans haven't forgotten, nor has their undying faith wavered. But harsh reality suggests that Don Shula's Dolphins have enormous problems. Indeed, the famous no-name defense is beginning to show some age. Already this season, the Dolphins have surrendered 9 touchdown passes, as many as they gave up in all of 1975. And neither varied alignments nor an infusion of younger players has proven effective. Worse yet, the old ball control days are gone, as Bob Griese is throwing more and more passes to keep the Dolphins in contention. But Don Shula's problems pale in comparison to those of Kansas City headman Paul Wiggin. The lone bright spot in an otherwise disastrous start has been the consistent play of quarterback Mike Livingston. Last week, Livingston passed for 332 yards against the Redskins, including this last-minute Sandlot League flea flicker that gave Kansas City a come-from-behind upset victory. 5 years ago, the Chiefs and the Dolphins battled 6 quarters for the AFC Championship. No title is at stake today, but it's a must game for the hard-pressed Dolphins. Miami and Kansas City in the NFL Game of the Week. 3 of Miami's first 4 offensive plays were swing passes, the last of which caused the Dolphins to question their scouting report. The presumed weakness seemed well disguised. Certainly the middle would prove more vulnerable. But here again, Bob Griese encountered some unexpected opposition from a defensive unit that seemed like anything but the conference's worst. Miami's first possession established a pattern of ineptitude they would follow much of the day. Meanwhile, Mike Livingston went right to work on the AFC's most porous pass defense. Number 88, Walter White, is fast becoming one of football's finer pass-receiving tight ends. Another angle shows White's superb concentration in heavy traffic. White's catch carried to the Dolphin 10. 4 plays later, Kansas City forfeited a certain field goal for a chance at 6. And somewhere in that mass of humanity is number 21, Tommy Riemann, who managed to break the plane of the goal line before succumbing to superior numbers. Another view reveals a halfback named Desire. His dignity somewhat ruffled, Riemann still managed to nose the ball into the end zone as Kansas City put the first number on the board. Convinced he could move against Kansas City's corners, Bob Griese resumed his calculated assault. But usually sure-handed Norm Boulash just plain old dropped this one. A good thing, for it kept the play from being nullified by a holding penalty. But just as Miami's offense seemed on the verge of retirement, Bob Griese split the seam to Nat Moore. Griese and Moore wanted more than a mere first down at midfield, so the Dolphins once again abandoned ball control for a shot at a quick kill. But the tactic backfired as cornerman Kerry Reardon interrupted the ball's flight at the Chiefs' 6-yard line. The turnover pinned the Chiefs deep in their own territory, a situation calling for a bit of improvisation. And Mike Livingston was equal to the task. Livingston's impromptu completion to Walter White pushed the Chiefs out of immediate danger. But Livingston's aerial exploits did nothing for the struggling Chief ground game. as Miami flattened the Kansas City drive. But as period 2 opened, Miami's swing pass attack discovered that little had changed since period 1. Try as they would, the Dolphins were going nowhere against the Kansas City flanks. The frustrated Dolphins couldn't move, and worse yet, they looked bad trying. Willie Lee's recovery came at the Dolphin 18. The no-namers stiffened, but veteran kicker Jan Stenerud was well within his range. Once again, a Miami offensive mistake had given Kansas City points on the scoreboard, though the electronic marvel didn't seem to know how many. With a 10-point lead to protect, Kansas City's youthful defenders brace for the inevitable Dolphins surge. A proud veteran offensive unit like Miami's flounders only so long before getting down to business. And by now, Bob Griese had suffered quite enough embarrassment. Griese's 24-yard strike to Nat Moore carried into Chief territory. A repeat demonstrates the duo's superb timing as well as Moore's ability to catch the ball in a crowd. In addition to sure hands and an ability to make the tough catch over the middle, Moore also possesses breakaway speed, as the Chiefs secondary discovered. But Miami's deepest offensive thrust fizzled inside the Kansas City 10, as a safety blitz caught the Dolphins short-handed. Tim Gray's daring assault on the Dolphin pass pocket brought on Garo Yepremian. But things were going badly for Miami, and Garo merely compounded the misery. Once again, Miami had failed to put points on the board. Mike Livingston seized upon the moment to rally the Chiefs on their 2-minute drill. MacArthur Lane traveled out near the 50, and a face mask penalty moved the ball across the midfield stripe. Again, Livingston went to a running back as the Chiefs moved into field goal range. But with ample time remaining, Livingston grew impatient, allowing Miami's Charlie Babb to turn a promising drive into just another idle threat as the first half ended. For 2 1/2 periods, Miami's offense hardly distinguished itself. Finally, in period 3, Bob Griese put the Dolphins back on track. Determined not to get choked off, Griese worked inside and out against a Chief defense that suddenly offered little resistance to Miami's studied precision. Griese connected 6 times on this 71-yard drive, the biggest of which a 37-yarder to tight end Jim Mandich that carried to the Kansas City 6. Finally, from the Chief 2-yard line, Griese handed to Norm Bulash. This time, no fumbles and no miscues as the Dolphins broke the shutout. Six passes and only 4 running plays. Not a typical Dolphin drive, but with typical Dolphin results. Miami now trailed by only 3. And though they had played erratically at best, a Dolphin comeback victory seemed a likely possibility. With their lead reduced to 3 points, Kansas City came right back on their next possession with a flurry of passing. Mike Livingston hit Henry Marshall for 18 yards. Then as the fourth quarter began, passed to Ed Podolak on a circle route for 23 more. But after moving somewhat effortlessly into Miami territory via the pass, the Chiefs were betrayed when they went to the run. MacArthur Lane was the culprit on the fumble that Miami's Bill Stanful gratefully smothered on the Miami 41. The Dolphins began the fourth quarter like they ended the third with a steady stream of short, accurate passes that had the Chiefs' defense reeling backwards. Kansas City's defense has been consistent this season, consistently bad. It ranks dead last statistically in the AFC, 14th among 14 teams. Finally, after Benny Malone had taken a short pass for 31 long yards, Greasy from the 4 found Howard Twilley on the left side of the end zone. And Miami had taken the lead for the first time today. Appropriately, it was the Greasy-Twilley combination that gave Miami its lead, for it's the oldest established permanent partnership that exists in the NFL. Twilley, the last of the original Dolphins, has been on the receiving end of Greasy's passes for 10 years. Miami 14, Kansas City 10. Kansas City's Larry Williams took the ensuing kickoff out to the Chiefs' 45 on a nice return. Then when Tommy Riemann turned right end for 14 yards before being socked down by Old Pro Nick Bonaconti, number 85, it appeared the Chiefs were rallying. But they were soon forced to punt when MacArthur Lane again displayed bad hands on a perfect Livingston pass. But Miami likewise got nowhere, and they too got rid of the ball on a fine Larry Seifel punt that put the Chiefs in precarious position on their own 2. Incredibly, Livingston negotiated the remaining 98 yards in just 4 plays. Passing from his own end zone, the Chiefs quarterback threaded the Dolphins zone with a strike to tight end Walter White for 19 yards. It was a big play, for it gave Livingston some breathing room, and he came right back with a short pass to Riemann over the middle that resulted in an additional 15 yards for Kansas City. Now, with only 2 minutes remaining in the fourth period, Livingston revived memories of the Chiefs' trick play that had beaten the Redskins the week before, when he called a reverse to Henry Marshall that caught the Miami defense flat-footed. "59 yards later, Marshall had scored, and the joyous Chiefs had regained the lead 17-14. With Baltimore looking unbeatable and New England playing surprisingly well, the frustrated, agonized Dolphins fully understood just how vital a victory over the Chiefs was, if Miami was to have anything to say about their division race. Now with just 1:40 to get back on the board, Bob Greasy back to pass, saw no open receivers, and kept the ball himself for an 18-yard gain. Then the Greasy to Twilley combo surfaced again with a down-and-out pass, good for 19 yards to the Kansas City 33. With just over a minute showing, Greasy rolled right, gave Twilley a glance, then went deep for his game-breaker, Nat Moore. But number 26, rookie Gary Barbaro, almost made an interception. 59 seconds left, and Greasy returned to the reliable Twilly, who went to his knees at the right hash mark for 14 yards and a Dolphin first down. Now Greasy again went to Nat Moore to put the game away, and again the receiver was open. Moore's drop of Greasy's pinpoint pass in the end zone was followed by a flare to Boulage, but a fine play by number 51, Jim Lynch, put Miami in a 3rd and 16 situation with only 36 seconds remaining. In this clutch situation, Greasy once again went to the man he counts on the most, Howard Twilly, who made the crucial catch for 15 yards. But Miami was still a yard short. So on 4th down, Garo Yepremian was called upon to tie the game at 17 points apiece. Garo's 27-yard field goal was good. The Dolphins had come back to tie at the end of the 4th quarter and send the game into sudden death. The vital coin toss was won by the Chiefs, and this game between the two worst defenses in the American Conference went into sudden death. The Chiefs had the important first crack at the ball, but went nowhere as the Dolphin defense rose up and smote down the Kansas City ground attack. Miami took over, and Greasy wasted no time in short passing the Chiefs silly with Twilly. First on the right side, then on the left. Greasy picked apart a Chiefs secondary that ranks 13th out of 14 teams in the AFC. When the Dolphin quarterback hit the 11-year veteran from Tulsa with his 3rd pass of this series and 8th of the game, Miami seemed like a sure shot to take the ball in and end the game they needed so badly to win. But from the Chiefs 20 with over 2 minutes remaining in the extra period came the play that decided the game. Norm Boulage came roaring through the middle of the Chiefs defense, had the ball stripped from his arms by Billy Andrews, and the Chiefs downed the fumble in the end zone for a touchback. A brilliant drive on the part of Bob Greasy, and the offense had ended in disaster for Miami. In the face of an almost certain Miami score, the Chiefs now had a new life. The Dolphins were devastated. With less than 2 minutes remaining in overtime, it was now a matchup of the second-ranked passing offense versus the worst pass defense in the AFC. As statistics would indicate, it was no contest. After Larry Brunson had burned the Dolphins secondary for 22 yards, Mike Livingston hit Henry Marshall over the middle, and the rookie receiver from Missouri broke 2 very bad tackles and tore down the left side of the field to the Miami 27. After a few safe running plays lined the ball squarely in front of the uprights, with 17 seconds left in overtime, Jan Stenerud was called upon to do what he does so well and end this sudden death football game. Who would have thought that as early as the 6th week of the season, the proud Miami Dolphins would be faced with extinction in their division race? The Norwegians' kick was good, and it was all over for Miami. With a record of just 2-4, their division hopes are certainly over. For Kansas City and their happy band of Warriors, it was a second straight last-minute upset win. After 4 consecutive losses, Paul Wiggins' young team has 2 victories over Washington and Miami, and their season looks much, much brighter. Afterwards, Wiggins gave credit to his quarterback, Mike Livingston. He's my kind of player. He's no thread-the-needle passer, but a guy who will fight you till he's won. Wiggins' description was both fitting praise for Mike Livingston and a poignant epitaph for the Miami Dolphins, who now know how the Chiefs felt 5 long years ago when in sudden death, the Dolphins eliminated them from the playoffs in the longest game ever played.